From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
Good morning, everybody. We're back. It is 11:36 new severe thunderstorm warning for Hardin County that goes until 12:15. That's for this cell that is moving in to the Savannah area from the southwest. We've been watching this kind of off screen, and it has definitely become a pretty robust storm over here. Looks like a hell core right here to the south of Adamsville, between Adamsville and Stantonville. This is just about to cross the county line going into Hardin County. This is going to impact Savannah, Bucktown, Swift, possibly as far north as Saltillo, possibly as far east as Olive Hill and Maddox. You are also under this severe thunderstorm warning. So again, we're watching this cell that's moving in from the west. You don't need to really treat this like a tornado warning, but they are producing some pretty good hailstones. These storms are. So I would tell you, go inside, kind of hunker down, just try to stay away from windows. Again, you don't need to be taking your tornado precautions if you don't want to. I'm not saying that, it's a bad thing to do. It will be nice to actually get kind of hunkered down with this cell again moving in. There's a lot of lightning with it as well, so I would not recommend being outside with this storm whatsoever. Let's go ahead and do a storm track on this chase, and we'll take a look at some of the velocity data. It's moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour is what the Weather Service has said. So this will go out about 45 minutes. So Crump at about 11:41, Savannah at 11:47, Bucktown at 11:53, Saltillo right at noon, Swift at 12:01, Unity at 12:05, Pleasant Grove 12:06, and Olive Hill at 12:06 as well. Let's take a look at some of the velocity data. The main issue with the wind is going to be right where the hail core is located. So when you see the hailstones falling from the sky, you're going to end up getting the heaviest and strongest winds with that cell. And due to some pixel queries on this, that looks like it's getting close to 60 miles per hour. Again, this radar site, that's 47. That's 46. Maybe.
Let me get in here.
The colors could just be more bright from looking at it over here, but that's right around 40 to 50 miles per hour, so not really getting quite to 60 yet, but the radar beam's looking kind of in the middle part of the storm, so we're not kind of getting a very low level scan with this. But with that hail potential will come that damaging wind potential as well, getting really close to Grump right here along US 64. This is just to the west of Savannah, so again, that's where your hail core and damaging wind potential will be. This will continue to make its way on off towards the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So Bucktown, Savannah, Maddox, anywhere from between Olive Hill and Savannah, right along Highway 64. On the northern side of the county, you've got Swift and Saltillo as well. So just hunker down from this, stay inside, and just kind of, stay away from windows. It's the best course of action we can give you to perform right now. Looking at the Barron button, maybe up to an inch hailstone, looks like right there, maybe up to nickel size. So again, but the hail core will continue to grow more than likely. We've seen these storms, they'll pulse up and they'll continue to get stronger as they progress further to the east. Let's go ahead and go back down to the south because we do have the continuation of the warning. It looks like we have a new warning now for Colbert, Franklin, and Lawrence County, so we'll see that pop up here very soon. The warning here for Franklin County has been updated to include ping pong ball size hail. Again, like I mentioned, some of these hailstones today could be on the larger side of things. We're not talking about nickel and dime. These could be quarter, maybe up to $half ping pong ball. Can't even rule out golf ball size hail. Look at that on the Barron button right here. That's going to be some pretty significant hail. That's 2 inches in diameter greater that the radar could be detecting here. This is just to the southeast of Vina. This is right on top of Atwood right here. So Vina, Atwood, zoom in a little closer. Is that Highway 170? Yeah, it's Highway 172 that kind of winds its way from Atwood towards Vina. That's exactly where that hail core is located right now, and that could be some pretty substantial hail that is falling here. So again, if you're in Atwood and Vina, seeing some of that hail right now, so heads up in Glasgow Corner, Burnout, Old Burleson, Bell Green. This will continue to move to the northeast. This will likely not dissipate here very soon. Like I mentioned, there is enough wind shear in place today that these storms are going to survive a little longer than you would without any wind shear. So these aren't really going to be your pulse type summertime storms. These will last a little longer out there. So that hail potential on top of Atwood right now, give it time. It will get close to the Belgreen and Glasgow corner area right along Highway 24 that goes from Russellville down towards Red Bay. All right, let's move east. Let's take a look at this new severe thunderstorm warning. I imagine this probably goes until 12:30. Looks
like that goes till 12:15.
It goes 12:15 as well. Okay, so that goes until 12:15 as well. Let me go to the Weather Service office in Huntsville chat real quick. Take a look at this warning real quick, and then we'll do a storm track on it. So this is moving northeast. They still have these moving at 20. And that is ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And it looks like they've kind of grabbed that portion down here. Yep. So let's go ahead and just do a back out storm track, since it looks like they're covering that eastern part of the storm here. Do a storm track that covers these two storms.
I'll do a fan track.
Yeah, do a
kind of like sort of this-ish.
Yeah, kind of do. Yeah, exactly. Do like that, and then take it out. Yeah, that's probably a good direction right there. Do about 20.
And then I'll change the time for you.
Okay.
I'll do it like, let's see, 45 to 60, something like that.
Okay, so yeah, take it out like an hour. So
here's an hour.
All right. So Nix Mill at about 11:47, Glasgow Corner at 11:53, Spruce Pine at 12:02, Belgreen at 12:02, Isbell at 12:08, Waco at 12:24, Russellville at 12:24, Fairview at 12:33, and Newburgh at 12:33 as well. This is for this part of the cell, or cluster of cells, if you will, that's in Franklin County that looks like it's starting to trend a little bit further to the east. So the Weather Service office in Huntsville has issued a warning further east that includes far southern Colbert County, the eastern part of Franklin County, and far western parts of Lawrence County. This does not include the Moulton area or the Hatton area or Town Creek. This is the far western part of the county here. And Chase, that's still looking like a pretty good hail core down here. I don't know if we've gotten an update. It looks like we did get a radar update. That is some pretty significant hail that's getting right on top of Atwood right now. Again, these are pretty significant hail producers that are going on right now. Ping pong ball size hail is likely with this storm here. And let's go to velocity real quick. And like what we talked about, where the hail is falling, that's going to be where your damaging wind potential is as well. And there is some signals here from the NexRad site in Columbus, Mississippi, where we could be getting some pretty good damaging wind potential here. Right now it looks like anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour, but any little pocket within there, you could have that isolated 60-mile-per-hour wind gust across your area. So Atwood down to Hodges here along Highway 172, and then you take Highway 187 here that moves from Hodges up towards the Belgreen community right there along Highways 24. That's where this is headed right now. So again, Glasgow Corner, Belgreen, and then possibly as far east as Duketon right here in Franklin County. That's going to be your kind of immediate heads up here with the potential for ping pong ball size hail and that damaging wind potential around 60 miles per hour. In Russellville, you've got a storm on top of you right now that is not severe. These two are not severe. They're in the severe thunderstorm warning, but that's the severe warnings for this hefty cell that's back down towards the south. So Waco, Newburgh, you're hearing some thunder, seeing some lightning, seeing some rainfall, as well as Russellville and Isbell right now, but these are not severe. Your severe potential is coming in behind it with this storm moving in from the Atwood area. Let's go ahead and do kind of a reset real quick and take a look at some of these other cells. And let's go into this one that's in the Rogersville area. I know that you mentioned, Chase, that this was starting to look a little more better organized, I should say, on our X-band.
Yeah, matter of fact,
let's see what it looks like. Yeah, right here.
You can definitely
right near Grassy.
Hail, the kind of signature, probably dropping P's at this point, I'd say.
Yeah.
Safe bet there.
I would think so with that kind of DBZ value right there. So Lexington, Grassy, right here along Alabama Highway 64, that runs from Alabama Highway 207 back towards the city of Lexington. That's where you're starting to see that hail potential grow. Let's go ahead and do a storm track on this. Put it into motion. I think it's kind of moving more north.
Yeah, kind of north.
It kind of back built to the west a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do kind of a bit of this here out ahead of it. It's kind of tricky. Let me put it into speed again. Let's just really be sure of this one.
Yeah.
Because it is developing.
I would take it almost due north.
Yeah, I'd kind of do like that, so that's what I'll do. So we'll draw that up here. About like that, probably similar speed to what we've been seeing. Here we go.
All right, so this is not severe right now, but this is a heads up. If you live in Bonnertown, 5 Points, Union Hill, the southern side of Lawrence County, Tennessee, and Giles County, Grassy at 1150, Powell at 1151, Lexington at 1154, Bonnertown at 1156, Miner Hill, that's going to be right around noon, 5 Points 1204, Oak Grove 1205, Union Hill 1214, Fall River 1218. I believe it's pronounced Revillo or Revilo. So I apologize if I'm not saying that correctly.
Maybe Revilo?
Revilo, maybe Revilo. 1220, Crossroads at 1225, and Gum Springs at 1231. This is that hefty cell that's coming in from Lauderdale County. There's no active warning on it yet, but this is growing. This is a live look at our X-band Doppler radar here in Lawrenceburg. Getting a very nice look at it coming in from the south. Lightning is increasing. There's your little hell core right here, and like Chase said, probably closer to P, maybe dime-sized hail potentially with this cell that's moving in from the south. All right, let's go to our radar network, back things out here, and kind of do a little reset. Again, active warnings right now for Hardin County. You got Tishomingo County. Well, actually, that one fell off the board here, so it looks like it's only Colbert, Franklin, and Lawrence counties here in Alabama. Again, all these other cells that are outside of that severe thunderstorm warning area are not severe yet. That doesn't mean that they won't be later on. There's a really good chance that they will be later on today because we do have that level 3 out of 5, that enhanced risk across the area today. Our main issue is damaging winds and the large hail potential. The tornado threat is not zero, but I want to stress that really the only way we might end up getting a tornado threat today is with any boundary interaction. You can't really forecast that. The overall outside environment does not support a real tornado threat, but your tornado threat would come from near storm environment interactions, and we cannot forecast that. That's just how the storms evolve, how they interact with each other and with the boundary. And we can't tell you when that's going to happen or if that's going to happen. So we'll just have to wait and watch the radar closely to see if we get anything like that happening. But our main threat today is that damaging wind and hail threat. Let's pan off to the west real quick and take a look at that line. This is that kind of main line that we've been forecasting that's moving across the Mississippi River right now, getting into the Memphis area. They do have severe thunderstorm warnings on it for damaging wind potential around 60 miles per hour. Give it some time. This line could gain some momentum. And if it does, that damaging wind potential will start to go up to where it might end up being maybe close to 70 miles per hour with this line moving through. So again, round one we're dealing with right now with these cells that are popping up across our area, damaging winds, hail potential could be upwards of maybe ping pong ball, maybe golf ball size hail, so that's more of a significant hail threat as opposed to a lower end hail threat. And then more of a damaging wind threat is expected with this line, with maybe some embedded areas of some hail. The Weather Service in Memphis, Todd Beal, is saying, Chase, that there's a 60 dBz value at 25,000 feet on that Hardin County storm. So likely some very large hail. Let's go back into this one real quick. And then, matter of fact, we're getting close to noon already, so we might as well just go ahead and just stay with this, and then we'll take a quick look at your forecast here when we get to the noon hour. So this is right on top of Savannah right now, and it looks like the Weather Service office in Memphis is saying that there's a pretty significant hail core that is developing with this cell in the mid-levels. I'm guessing they're looking at it from NQA.
I'm checking the tilts here on
They're checking the tilts?
OHX.
Okay.
We can
that one near Center Star is going up too, so this is another robust updraft that's starting to get going. That's not what's falling on the ground. As Chase, what tilt are we looking at here?
This is tilt, I think 1.5, so this is 16,000 feet up.
Okay, so that's cutting the mid-level part of the storm, and so that's grabbing that developing updraft, and that is a significant updraft that is starting to go up right on top of Center Star. So there's a chance that we might have two hail cores going on here, one that's getting into downtown Savannah right now that the Weather Service office in Memphis is saying that there's likely going to be some large hail with this storm here. So if you're in Savannah, you still have a little bit of time if you have a chance to get your car into a garage or underneath an awning to protect it from the hailstones. I would go ahead and do it right now if you can safely. There's a lot of rain, a lot of lightning going on, so if you can't do it safely, don't do it right now. You just have to ride this storm out and just hope for the best with your car if you have it outside and you can't get it under cover. But if you do live in Center Star, if you live in Martins Mill, Clifton Junction, and the Lutz area, I would go ahead and you have time to get your car potentially in a garage. Center Star, you're really close to it, so your time's kind of running short right now. Big Ivy, you've got some time as well. Let's go ahead and just kind of back things out, Chase, pan. Let's do a storm track, do a squall track, and we'll take these two storms right here and take it off towards the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. They've been running about 35 to 40. And it looks like we do have a new warning, so we'll have to get to that one here soon. That looks like it includes Lewis County. So this is for those two cells, one moving into downtown Savannah right now, and the other one that's developing off to the southeast towards Big Ivy. So this is capturing both of those. Bucktown right now, Big Ivy at 1124, Olive Hill at 1201, Martins Mill at 1205, Swift at 1205, Clifton Junction at 1210, Clifton at 1218, Beach Creek at 1223, Leatherwood at 1225, and Waynesboro at about 1220. Is at 1226, 1226. Yeah. With this continuing down the line. So I imagine there will be another warning that will be issued here for Wayne County here very soon. Let's go up to the north. We've got that new warning here. This is for that batch that we were tracking earlier today. This is getting right on top of Linden right now. This is Tennessee Highway 13 that runs all the way down from Flatwoods up towards Linden and heads up towards the north towards Beardstown and Lobelville and eventually gets up towards that I-40 corridor area. Is moving into Linden right now. Damaging wind potential up to 60 miles per hour, some large hail. This does include now Lewis County. This kind of splits Hohenwald in half, it looks like. So if you live in Hohenwald and north of Hohenwald, near the Kimmins area, Salem, and near Gordonsburg, you are in this warning here for these cells that are moving in from the west. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the velocity data on this. They look like they had some pretty good velocity kind of zones, if you will. It doesn't really look like much there. What's the base velocity look like? That looks like storm relative. So here's your kind of zones right here. One to the northwest of Linden right here between Pineview and Linden. That's probably about 40 to 50 mile per hour gust right here, maybe up to 60 in some isolated spots. And then another zone here that's going to be north of Pleasantville near Cobble. And that one might have a little bit of rotation with it, but I'm not seeing anything that's like tornadic with that. Again, these are going to be where your hail cores are located today, like we were talking about over the past hour or so. Where you're going to get your hail core with these storms out ahead of that line, that's where you're going to have your damaging wind potential. Let's go ahead and see what the hail cores look like on these, Chase. Looks like the strongest one, at least according to the Barron button, is going to be here near Lobelville. Yeah, that's about nickel size, if you will, and that's probably going to be close to maybe dime size. But these are your two cores. This one's going to be your strongest one. This is going to stay north of Lewis County here and will impact, I'm blanking on what this, right here towards Centerville, that's Hickman County. Hickman. Right, that's right, Hickman north of Lewis. And let's go ahead and back things out, and we'll do a storm track on this one. We'll go ahead and just capture this entire line and take it off towards the northeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Again, this is going to impact far northern Lewis County here. So Cobble at 1158, Pleasantville at 1203, Nunley at 1214, Hornertown at 1216, Fairfield at 1217, Centerville at 1217, Kimmins at 1224, Graytown in 1225, Etna at 1226, Dogwood Flat at 1226, Wrigley at 1226 as well, and Tidwell, that's going to be at 1239. So this is for that cell that has now prompted that severe thunderstorm warning here for northern Lewis County. This does include Hohenwald. So heads up, if I'd called out your town here and you have time and you're not being impacted by this storm right now, like if you're in Cobble right here, you have time to get your vehicle indoors. Again, these are pretty good hail producers right here. Some of these storms so far have potentially been producing hailstones that are upwards of maybe ping pong balls size at some point. So again, these are pretty robust updrafts that are ongoing across the area. All right, let's reset the view, and we're getting close to the noon hour, so that we'll just stay here, and then we'll kind of quickly look at your forecast, and then we'll go back and take a look at some of these severe thunderstorm warnings. Let's go back into these cells that are impacting the Russellville area. Again, we're still watching the severe storms in Tennessee, but let's dip back down into this severe storm that's in Franklin County, because these are pretty substantial updrafts. The hail potential on this is still at ping pong ball size. And you're seeing here with the Barron button, that's, I believe, 1.5 inches.
Yep.
I think that's what that is, 1.5 inches. Yep, 1.5 inches hail potential. This is right along. This is just north of 172. This is getting close to 187 from Belgrade down to Glasgow Corner. And this will continue to make its way on off towards the northeast. If you're getting very close to that Alabama Highway 24 corridor, that's a very heavily traveled corridor that goes from Mississippi, from the Red Bay area, all the way back towards Decatur. It runs through Russellville, runs through Moulton. And so this is a very heavily traveled corridor here, and that's getting very close to it. So if you live anywhere along Alabama Highway 24 from Russellville all the way down towards Burnout, you need to be taking precautions here. And if you are driving, if you're listening to me and you're driving right along Alabama Highway 24, somewhere between Russellville and Burnout, go ahead and find a spot, a convenience store, some awning, something you can take your car underneath to protect you from these hailstones, because these could be some pretty substantial hailstones. Around ping pong ball size hail is what the warning is calling for. That cell that is northeast of Russellville right now, let's go ahead and get a storm track on that one. That one's going to impact southern Colbert County here very soon. That one's starting to increase its lightning with it, so your hail core is getting stronger with it. So here's a storm track on that, moving north to about 25 miles per hour. And that's going to impact Bethsaida at about 12:03, Littleville at 12:06, Old Bethel at 12:09, White Oak at 12:19, Spring Valley at 12:20, Leeton at 12:28, Bethel at 12:39, and Lennon Hill at 12:39 as well. If that does continue to track to the northeast, it will eventually get close to the Tennessee River and eventually cross it and move into southern Lauderdale County towards the Rogersville area. These cells, they aren't moving, put that into motion real quick. They aren't really moving fast, but they're just kind of blowing up across the entirety of this area here. So it's not just one single cell that's going up. You're getting multiple updrafts that are blowing up and intensifying across this area. So if you're under one of these severe thunderstorm warnings, take it seriously, because any of these cells could easily develop a pretty substantial hail core and could drop hailstones around ping pong ball size hail, maybe a little bit larger later on. Let's do one quick backup view chase, and then I believe I have my show should be ready on that.
Yeah,
so
your whole.
Okay, so then we'll run through that real quick. But first off, just kind of a broader perspective here as we get to the noon hour. It's still watching all of these storms that are developing. These that are right along the Tennessee-Alabama state line here from about Elkton and Ardmore all the way down towards the Lexington area. They are not severe, but they could easily become severe very, very soon. So we're watching those. Severe warning here for Hardin County. That will eventually move into northern Wayne County. This looks like it's going to go north of Waynesboro, but it's going to be too close to call. If you're in the Waynesboro area, heads up. I will go ahead and move your car into a safe spot if you can right now. And then that one near Lewis County, that one looks like it's going to go north of Hohenwald right now. But if you're in northern Lewis County, Hohenwald north, take your precautions right now and be sure to get your vehicle in a safe spot right now. We're still watching the line off to the west, and that will be moving in later on today. All right, let's go ahead and go over to Lynx 1. If you want to flip over to Lynx 1, I'll grab the clicker here. So here's a live look from our Arctic Air Skycam network. I saw the Cherokee camera kind of turning around, so it looks like we're kind of pointed back into those storms that are coming in from the south in Cherokee. Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, Florence checking in this afternoon. A lot of clouds. We're watching those storms off in the distance like we've been talking about. We'll get back to your radar here soon. So again, just quick update on your forecasts here. Rain chances are going to increase as we go throughout the day today and into tomorrow. Weekends looking good for the most most part, as we get into Sunday, Saturday looks like it's going to be a pretty rainy and stormy day. Back towards the middle of next week, we're going to have another system move on through. This is what's giving us our severe weather threat today. Area low pressure developing here across parts of Arkansas. Stationary front to the north, cold front back towards the west. That will move in here on Saturday, and that's going to end our storm threat going into the day on Sunday and give us some dry weather behind it. Temperatures right now, this is why we're unstable. 79 in the Shoals right now, 80 in Moulton, 81 in Pulaski, 79 degrees in Lawrenceburg. Weather Ready to Live forecast. Storms already ongoing across parts of these areas right now. High temperatures generally in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Storms continue to track through. We still have that level 3 out of 5 risk across the area today. Main issue is damaging winds and the hail potential. Tornado potential is not zero, but it only has to deal with boundary interaction today. There's not a lot of what we call kind of environmental wind shear. If you look at the environment from a big, broad perspective, there's not a lot of wind shear in the low levels. So the only way you're going to end up getting a tornado today is if you get some boundary interaction that goes on with these near storm environments, and we cannot forecast that. That's just how the storms end up evolving, and they'll just pop up. So we'll just have to be a watchful eye on the radar in case we do get any rotation that tries to develop. Our main issue, like I mentioned, is damaging wind and the hail potential. That hail potential might actually end up being more elevated now too, because we are getting some ping pong ball size hail across parts of the area with these storms. Futurecast looks like this going further on into the afternoon and evening. Rounds of showers and storms continuing with that line pushing through generally in the late afternoon hours, more than likely. Continuing to see the chance at some showers and storms during the late evening hours. This model, the HRRR model, is trying to push in another batch from the southwest. We'll see if that happens. The atmosphere might be overworked at that point to where that might not materialize as strong as it's showing. There is still a chance at a few showers during the overnight hours going into your Saturday. Forecast highs today generally in the lower 80s and upper 70s. Tonight dropping down into the 50s and 60s with the continuing chance at a few spotty showers, maybe some storms during the overnight hours. Temperatures tomorrow will be on the lower end of things because of all the cloud and rain and storm activity moving on through. And tomorrow we're also watching another severe weather threat. This will be as that front moves its way on off towards the east. The chance of this severe weather potential tomorrow could end up being more in the morning hours as opposed to the afternoon hours across our area. I think it's afternoon further towards the east, but for us here, it might end up being morning into maybe the early afternoon hours with their futurecast here. And that's actually on Friday, Chase. If you want to pause that real quick and maybe go in and switch that to the
I'll set that to
Saturday. It's what happens sometimes behind the scenes. We're dealing with severe weather. Sometimes you might not get your graphics the way you exactly want them to be. So here's 9 a.m. on Saturday. Well, that's where your showers and storm potential will be. That's going to be your batch right here moving through. Looks like it's not wanting to. Oh, you're still in the scene.
Oh, my apologies.
Oh, you're fine.
There we go.
All right, now let's do this. So here we go, 9 a.m. That's going to be your batch moving through. That's okay, I had to hit play again. That's going to be your batch moving through. So that's why I'm talking about our severe weather potential here across our area tomorrow might end up being during the morning hours, and then it shifts further east during the day for the afternoon hours, and maybe some lingering showers on the backside of things, and then we're drying out for your Sunday going into your Monday as well. Let's go ahead and go to your 7-day forecast, and we'll go back to the radar here very soon. So severe storms today, lingering showers and storms, some severe potentially during the morning hours. Lingering showers are possible on your Sunday, temperatures dropping down into the 60s. And then once we get into Monday and Tuesday, we're looking fantastic, temperatures in the lower 70s. And their next chance of rain and storms will be on Wednesday and Thursday, with temperatures getting back up into the middle 70s. All right, let's switch back over towards the radar and take a look at things. Let's kind of bounce. We'll go from north to south, and if we don't get a new warning, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll do another update probably around 12:30 or so. So this one, that northern Lewis County storm, Hohenwald, that's going to be your one right here, I think, that southern end, just south of Linden near Horner, right along Tennessee Highway 13. That's going to move into northern Lewis County. So Hohenwald, Kimmons, Salem, you need to have a heads up. If you are able to move your vehicle into a safe spot, go ahead and do it. Let's move down to the south, and we'll catch that one moving across Hardin County. This is just now crossed east of downtown Savannah, and this is now impacting areas right along Highway 64, getting close to Olive Hill. That one near Center Star is getting a lot more of an intense look on it.
That's for Wayne.
That's for Wayne County.
That's going to be pushing this out, presumably.
Okay, so let's go ahead and back things out real quick.
Let's see if that pops.
And matter of fact, when they do that, why don't you take over real quick, Chase, and kind of continue this update real quick.
Yeah, you want me to hop over there?
It doesn't matter, wherever you want to go.
I'll just hop over there real quick and highlight here. Matter of fact, I'll stay over here because we got to get the times on this. It's 12:45 for this new one, and it's honestly not too surprising that we've I got this here. So this is going to continue for this. We still have 1 inch 60 mile an hour as the primary concern for this, and you can actually see they've inched it a little further south here. So Martin's Mills are now in it. Highway 64 south to just north of Collinwood a little bit. That's your key corridor. Waynesboro, of course, you're in this, right? So that's not too surprising. That's a pretty robust core here. Just earlier, we were talking about these two cores being a little bit separate, but notice they're merging now, so that's going to help kind of sustain those updrafts a little while longer. You're seeing some pretty high values of DBZ, as we call it. You don't need to worry about the science behind it. That's just what we call these colors. And if we check some of our other products here, you can definitely see this is our Barron button, which shows the hail sizes. It's probably larger than that. We're probably talking better part of an inch, maybe even 1.25 inches up there with some of these hail sizes. We'll take a look at velocities real quick and see there's really not much to talk about in this sense because of the fact that we're so high up. And the great Fred Gossett just walked in too, so Chief's here too. But nonetheless, we are keeping an eye on that. We'll hop south as we were continuing to do so with these Franklin County, Colbert County, Lawrence County storms. And these have been a bit of a mess because they're kind of congealing. These storms are slow. That helps the updrafts progress and continue to grow. There's not one particular spot we're watching. It's pretty much most of Franklin County, most of southern Colbert County, and soon heading into western Lawrence County, but I don't suspect that'll be for another 15, 20 minutes yet, right? So we're keeping a close eye on that. Taking a look at the big picture now that we've covered those. You can see off to the west, that's round 2. That's the afternoon line moving in here. If we take a look over into the Memphis region, that's a big line of severe thunderstorms moving through, and those don't look like they're losing steam anytime soon, so we'll have to watch that over the next couple of hours. You can see that line from the Tennessee River, Memphis, all the way down to I-55. So definitely an active afternoon to be sure. Checking some off-screen sources here real quick. Okay, we're keeping an eye on these two. So northern Lauderdale County moving into southern Lawrence County, that's in Tennessee, and Giles County, these are coming up pretty quickly too. Notice a lot of lightning with those. So we might see some more stuff pop up with these. They're probably already dropping pea-size hail if I had to estimate there. But that lightning, that's pretty impressive. So we're keeping a close eye on that. All things considered, it's an active afternoon to be sure. Taylor, you're back here, about to come back on in here. We've just gone over the 3 so far, the warnings down into Franklin County, and then I was just taking a look at these ones that are not severe right now in Lauderdale County, but are definitely coming up quick.
All right, good. So we got that done. We got our noon show in, so it looks like we got everything covered here. So let's do a quick backup, kind of reset, and then we'll toss things back to our programming because we don't have any active tornado warnings, so we aren't going wall to wall, but we are still getting a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings with these. Main issue, again, is going to be damaging winds, anywhere from 60, maybe up to 70 miles per hour. I think that potential, if it's going to be close to 70, is going to be with that line moving in from the west. Our main hail potential is going to be with these cells that are developing here ahead of that line, and some of those could be substantial on the order of maybe ping pong ball, maybe up to golf ball size hail, with some of the highest kind of updrafts, the strongest updrafts across this area right now. All right, so that's what things are looking at right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for Franklin, Colbert, and Lawrence counties here in Alabama. In Tennessee, we've got Hardin and Wayne, and then the far northern part of Lewis County here. All of these containing some hailstones that could be on the order of...
Hold it for a few more minutes. We have warnings about to expire.
You have warnings about to expire. All right,
yes,
so we'll...
just in case they reissue.
Okay, just in case we issue. All right, so 12:11 right now. So let's hang on here just shortly. Chief Meteorologist Fred Gossett is now in the studio here, so we'll give this just a little bit of time. While we do that, let me kind of look at this line right here. Again, we've been watching that one closely. How's it looking on our live radar? Because these cells are starting to kind of increase a little bit. Not as pronounced as it was earlier, but still some pretty good cores that are going here right on top of Powell. This is Alabama Highway 64 running from Lexington to Powell. So that's going to have a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, some small hail with it, maybe some gusty winds over towards Green Hill. Also seeing a cell that has some potential for some small hail, maybe some gusty winds as well. So yeah, Fred was mentioning we got some warnings that are going to expire here at 12:15. Weather Service does say storm coming into Wayne County. This was just recently. Has produced quarter-size hail near Savannah and will be moving into Wayne in the next 15 minutes. Hail core in Hickman County is west of Centerville and still looks to be producing quarter-size hail with those. So it looks like, at least from the Tennessee storm perspective, they're going to be closer to quarter size, maybe a little bit larger if it gets some time and these updrafts continue to strengthen. That's going to be a new severe thunderstorm warning for Giles and Lawrence County. It's going to be for that cell that we're just looking at coming in from the south. So let's go ahead and kind of get that centered up. Do a storm track all the way along this line, Chase, if you can.
Sure, I'll do it from our live radar.
And that's going to be a warning that is moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. This goes until 12:45. This is kind of a smaller polygon here. It's not getting a wide area. So this is southeastern Lawrence County and southwestern Giles County.
You got a speed on that?
It was 20.
20, so we'll do it.
You do about 22, that's fine. All right, so this is for that kind of line cluster moving in from the south. Bonnertown right now, Aspen Hill at 12:18, Miner Hill at 12:20, 5 Points 12:24, Oak Grove 12:28, Crescent View 12:32, Ammitttown around 12:36, Fall River at 12:41. And Fred, is this pronounced Revillo or Vilo?
Revelo.
Revelo. All right, so you were right. Good call, Chase. Revelo, Pulaski around 12:45 to 12:48, and Powell Chapel at 12:50. Again, this is that kind of line cluster moving in from the south. Damaging winds at 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail are going to be your main threats with this cell, this kind of cluster again that's moving in from the south. All right. Let's back things out. We'll give it a couple more minutes because 12:15 is rolling around. We'll see.
We're going to do new warnings for the expiring warnings.
Okay,
They
so
just posted in the chat.
Okay, so we'll wait for those. We'll take a look at those, and then we'll step off for a short time since we don't have any active tornado warnings. So it looks like that's what they're doing right here. Here's the Hardin.
For Hardin County.
That's the Hardin County one. I don't know if it's actually popped in yet. That looks like that's the old warning.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
It looks like that new smaller polygon is like the new warning.
Oh, right in here?
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're, oh, inside of it. Okay, so here, okay, yes. Here's your polygon right here. It's capturing the cell itself right now, still in parts of eastern Hardin County, so that's why they had to extend it. So that one goes until
12:45.
12:45. That's going to be Olive Hill, east of Savannah, right along Highway 64. Damaging wind potential with some quarter-size hail that's moving into Wayne County. Let's go ahead and capture, just do the first one. Do like a fan track real quick, Chase. And then extend that out to try to get it to Waynesboro if you can.
Go 60 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
There we go. That's going to be Olive Hill at 12:25, Martins Mill at 12:32, Clifton Junction 12:36, Leatherwood at 12:53, Waynesboro right around 12:57 to 1 o'clock, Flatwoods 103, Topsy at 109, and Ashland at 1:14. That's for that cell coming out of Hardin County. We do have new warnings that are for Colbert, Franklin, Lawrence, and Lauderdale counties. They're expanding a huge polygon here for all these storms that are moving in from Franklin County. That goes until 1:15. So this includes Florence and the Shoals up towards Killen, Center Star, Rogersville, up close to Lexington. Doesn't really quite get to Lexington yet. In Lawrence County, Alabama, you've got Cortland, Town Creek, all the way down towards Moulton and Hatton. And again, that's for this entire area of storm activity right on top of Russellville. This is the cells kind of, I think it was one cell, but looks like it ended up being multiple cells that could have produced that kind of ping pong ball size hail. They have dropped the hail size though to quarter size with this. So 60 mile per hour gusts and quarter size hail will be possible with this. Chase, do one on that northern end because I know that's, a lot of these storms are in the severe warning. They're severe warm, but just kind of do that northern end right here and move it off to the northeast at 20 miles per hour, 20, 25. That's about right there. Old Bethel and Spring Valley on top of you right now. Wolf Springs at 12:25, Tuscumbia at 12:26, White Oak at 12:26, Haddon at 12:28, along with Woodland, Muscle Shoals right around 12:30, Naismith around 1231, Leeton around 1232, Sheffield around 1232, Nitrate City at 1238, Florence 1240, Lakeview 1241, Town Creek 1245, along with Ford City and Terrytown at 1246. Heads up, that's that northern part. You have time if you're in Florence, Muscle Shoals, Killen, close to Spring Valley, Cortland, if you want to take your car and get it into a garage or an awning to kind of get away from the hail potential, you have time, because that was that northern end of this entire cluster that's moving in from the south pretty slowly, still moving at about 20 miles per hour. So those are the new warnings that we have. Let's back things out. Y'all seen anything over there? All right, we're good. All right, that's the newest. We do have new warnings over here in Mississippi, so we'll have to just keep an eye on those. We're still watching that line moving in from the west. This is round one. Round two's back there towards Memphis. So again, our main issue with these, damaging winds and large hail. Some of the hailstones could get upwards of maybe ping pong ball size hail, maybe a little bit larger, depends on the updraft strength. Our main issue with that line is going to be the damaging wind risk that's going to happen later on this afternoon. All right, since we have no active tornado warnings on the board right now, we're going to toss it back to our programming here. For Chief Meteorologist Fred Gosses, for Chase Wilson, I'm meteorologist Taylor Plott. Stick with us here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We'll do another update a little bit later on. Stick with us. We'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.